Active listening is the foundation of smart communication because it empowers individuals to engage with others more effectively, understand messages clearly, and respond with precision and relevance. It goes far beyond simply hearing what someone says. It involves a conscious effort to fully absorb the speaker's message, interpret its meaning, and respond in a way that shows you're truly present. When you actively listen, you're not waiting for your turn to talk. You're deeply focused on what's being said, how it's being said, and what may not be said aloud. This kind of presence in a conversation distinguishes an average communicator from a truly impactful one. In moments where fast thinking is essential, like high-pressure meetings, interviews, debates, or negotiations, active listening gives you an edge. It equips you with the real-time information needed to craft responses that are not only quick, but intelligent. People who think fast and talk smart are not just fast talkers, they are fast processors. And to process quickly, you need accurate, complete input. That's exactly what active listening delivers. By tuning in fully to the speaker, you eliminate the mental noise that often clouds your ability to think clearly. You avoid misunderstandings, reduce assumptions, and gain a sharper, more nuanced grasp of the conversation's direction and emotional tone. Moreover, active listening builds trust and strengthens relationships. When others feel heard, they feel valued, and that opens a door to more open, honest, and productive communication. This is critical in both professional and personal contexts. In a business setting, being a strong listener can lead to better leadership, improved collaboration, and more effective conflict resolution. In social settings, it helps cultivate empathy, connection, and mutual respect. People gravitate toward those who make them feel seen and understood, and active listening is the gateway to achieving that. The ability to listen actively also boosts your memory and retention. When you are fully present and engaged, you're more likely to remember details, recall facts, and track complex discussions. This means you not only respond better in the moment, but you also build a mental library of insights and context that can be drawn upon in future conversations. That makes you appear not only sharp, but also dependable and well-informed. Ultimately, smart communication begins with smart listening. If you want to speak with clarity, confidence, and purpose, you must first be able to listen with intent, focus, and empathy. Active listening sharpens your ability to read the room, grasp the subtext, and tailor your response accordingly. It allows your words to carry more weight because they are grounded in genuine understanding. In a world full of noise and distractions, the ability to truly listen is a rare and powerful skill. It's the key to thinking fast and talking smart. Thinking fast doesn't mean speaking quickly or rushing through ideas. It means processing information with clarity and control, especially in the moment. And the key to achieving that level of mental sharpness is training your brain to stay fully present. In today's fast-paced world, distractions are everywhere. Our minds are constantly pulled in multiple directions, planning what to say next, checking our phones, analyzing the speaker's intent, or drifting into unrelated thoughts. But when we allow our attention to fragment, we lose the ability to respond intelligently in real time. Active listening forces you to anchor your focus in the now. It demands that your mental energy be directed entirely at the speaker, the message, and immediate context of the conversation. This mental discipline creates the foundation for quick, smart thinking. Presence is power. When your brain is trained to stay present, you can instantly analyze tone, word choice, body language, and emotional undertones, giving you more accurate data to work with in every conversation. That's how high-level communicators can think on their feet. They don't panic or stall because they're already tuned in to what's unfolding. They aren't scrambling to recall what was said a few seconds ago because they never zoned out. This presence creates a seamless flow between input and output, which leads to confident, articulate, and relevant responses. Staying present also reduces anxiety. Much of the nervousness people feel during conversations or public speaking comes from anticipating what might go wrong or worrying about how they'll be perceived. But when you bring your mind back to the current moment and truly focus on the speaker or audience, that fear begins to dissolve. You're no longer trapped in your mental noise. You're grounded in what's happening right now. Presence also improves your intuition and judgment. When you're deeply focused, you can pick up subtle cues that others miss. You can tell when someone is holding back, when they're confused, when they're engaged, or when they're losing interest. This heightened awareness enables you to adjust your communication style instantly, making you not only fast but also highly adaptive. And adaptability is what separates good communicators from great ones. Your ability to stay mentally present also strengthens your self-regulation. It helps you manage your impulses, avoid interrupting, and control emotional reactions. When you're truly present, you become less reactive and more intentional. That self-control gives your responses greater impact because they come from a place of awareness and thoughtfulness rather than automatic habit. Training your brain to stay present takes conscious effort. It means recognizing when your mind drifts and gently bringing it back. It means eliminating distractions during conversations, closing your laptop, putting your phone down, and making eye contact. Over time, this kind of intentional listening becomes second nature. And once it does, you'll find that your ability to think fast and talk smart accelerates naturally. Your word becomes sharper, your timing improves, and your confidence grows because you're no longer scrambling to catch up. You're already exactly where you need to be, right here, fully present, fully engaged. Active listening is not limited to the words being spoken. It involves decoding the full message, including tone, body language, pauses, and emotional undertones. When you train yourself to listen beyond the surface, you begin to understand the true intent behind what's being said and what's not being said. Words can often be filtered, rehearsed, or softened, but nonverbal cues rarely lie. A person may say, "I'm fine," but their crossed arms, lowered eyes, or hesitant tone can reveal frustration, discomfort, or sadness. By tuning into these subtle signals, you gain access to the deeper, often more honest, layers of communication. Mastering this deeper level of listening gives you an immediate advantage in any conversation. It allows you to connect with others on a more authentic level, to empathize with their unspoken feelings, and to respond in a way that feels genuinely aligned with their emotional state. When you can recognize tension, confusion, excitement, or reluctance without the speaker having to spell it out, you position yourself as not only a good listener, but a wise communicator. This skill is especially valuable in emotionally charged or complex conversations where the stakes are high, and the wrong response could escalate conflict or damage trust. By decoding the full message, you can respond with sensitivity, insight, and impact. Listening beyond words also helps you become more strategic. You begin to recognize patterns in how people communicate when they're being vague, overly agreeable, or evasive. You start to see through the smoke screens and read between the lines, which is essential in negotiations, leadership, client interactions, and conflict resolution. It becomes easier to identify what someone wants or needs, even if they're struggling to articulate it. This ability to hear the unspoken truth transforms you into someone who anticipates issues before they arise, addresses concerns before they're voiced, and navigates conversations with remarkable precision. In fast-moving environments where decisions need to be made quickly, decoding nonverbal signals also gives you a richer, faster understanding of the situation. You're not just relying on a literal message. You're drawing on emotional intelligence and sensory awareness to get a complete picture. That accelerates your decision-making and helps you respond with confidence. You can pick up on hesitation that might signal doubt, enthusiasm that hints at buy-in, or silence that screams disagreement. These cues are invaluable when thinking on your feet and crafting responses that are timely, relevant, and tactful. Developing this level of awareness requires practice and presence. You have to slow down your assumptions and open up your attention to everything happening in the moment. It means watching people closely, listening with your eyes as much as your ears, and trusting your gut when something feels off. It's not about being suspicious. It's about being tuned in. The more you practice decoding the message beyond words, the sharper your communication instincts become. People will begin to notice that you just get it, that you always seem to understand where they're coming from, even when they're not saying much. That reputation builds trust, credibility, and influence, all of which are crucial to thinking fast and talking smart in any setting. Silence is often misunderstood as a lack of contribution or weakness in conversation, but in truth, it is one of the most powerful tools in smart communication. Those who think fast and talk smart know that silence is not the absence of words. It is a strategic pause, a moment of reflection, and a sign of control. In a world that often values speed and constant response, the ability to embrace silence demonstrates a higher level of emotional intelligence and confidence. When you allow space in a conversation, you give yourself time to gather your thoughts, Organize your response and avoid saying something impulsive or misaligned. This creates the opportunity for clarity and intention rather than reactivity. Silence is especially valuable in tense or high-pressure moments. Instead of rushing to fill the gap with nervous chatter or defensiveness, a deliberate pause signals calmness and authority. It forces others to pay attention because it breaks the expected rhythm of conversation. People lean in during silence. They become more alert, more curious. The silence becomes a tool that not only gives you power, but also shifts the dynamic of interaction. It can reset the tone, cool down rising tensions, or emphasize a point without needing to speak more. Just a few seconds of silence can add weight to your words and make your message land more effectively. Moreover, silence shows that you are actively listening. When someone finishes speaking and you take a moment before replying, it demonstrates that you are truly considering their words. You are not just reacting, you are processing. This signals respect and attentiveness, qualities that immediately strengthen trust and rapport. People feel heard when you don't rush to respond. That moment of quiet between their comment and your reply communicates that their words matter enough for you to pause and think. In persuasive communication, silence can be used to provoke thought and reflection. After making a strong point, a well-placed pause lets your message sink in. It creates space for the listener to absorb the impact. This is especially effective in presentations, interviews, negotiations, and storytelling. The silence acts as punctuation. It lets your audience feel the weight of your ideas instead of rushing on to the next sentence. It gives your words room to breathe and your message time to resonate. Silence is also useful when you want others to reveal more. In one-on-one conversations, especially in interviews or sensitive discussions, holding back from speaking too soon can encourage the other person to fill the space with more information. People often reveal their true thoughts in those quiet moments because they feel invited, not pressured, to share more. This makes you not only a better listener, but also a more strategic communicator who can uncover deeper insights simply by being comfortable with silence. Learning to use silence wisely requires practice and patience. It goes against the instinct to fill every gap with sound. But once mastered, silence becomes a powerful ally. It gives you time, creates space, enhances presence, and commands attention. All essential traits of someone who knows how to think fast and talk smart with deliberate, composed confidence. Asking smart questions is one of the most effective ways to demonstrate active listening and elevate the quality of any conversation. It's easy to ask quick or generic questions, but smart questions are rooted in genuine attention, critical thinking, and emotional awareness. They show that you've not only heard what was said, but that you've understood the underlying meaning, context, and importance. When you ask thoughtful questions, you signal engagement and curiosity, which builds trust and encourages deeper dialogue. Smart communicators don't just listen to reply. They listen to explore, clarify, and expand. That's what makes their questions so impactful. They don't interrupt the flow of conversation. They deepen it. The difference between a quick question and a smart one is intention. A quick question might be surface level, simply moving the conversation along or checking a box. A smart question, on the other hand, challenges assumptions, brings focus to key issues, or invites the speaker to reflect more deeply. For example, instead of asking, "What happened next?" a smart communicator might ask, "What made that moment stand out for you?" Or, "How did that affect the way you approach the situation afterward?" These kinds of questions show that you're not just collecting information. You're connecting with the speaker's experience, thought process, or emotions. Smart questions also serve as a mirror, helping others see their ideas more clearly. In leadership coaching or mentorship roles, asking insightful questions can guide others to find their answers rather than handing them solutions. This not only empowers them, but also builds your credibility as someone who facilitates growth rather than dominates the conversation. In team settings, good questions spark collaboration and innovation. They invite different viewpoints, challenge groupthink, and keep discussions from becoming one-sided or shallow. By asking, "What haven't we considered yet?" or "Is there a risk we're overlooking?" you open the door to more strategic thinking and better decisions. In fast-paced or high-pressure situations, smart questioning also slows down the rush to judgment. It buys you time to think while still contributing to the conversation. Asking a clarifying question, like, "Can you elaborate on what you meant by that?" gives you a moment to reflect without seeming unsure. It keeps the conversation moving while allowing you to gather more context, which leads to a more intelligent and relevant response when it's your turn to speak. Mastering the art of asking smart questions requires active engagement and mental presence. You have to truly listen, read between lines, and be willing to step beyond routine replies. It takes awareness of both the content and the emotional tone of the conversation. The more intentional you become with your questions, the more influence you gain in any interaction. People remember those who ask questions that make them think, reflect, and feel understood. Whether in a meeting, interview, negotiation, or personal conversation, the ability to ask smart questions is a powerful communication skill that reinforces your ability to think fast and talk smart with insight, empathy, and purpose. Avoiding reactive traps and choosing to respond instead of reacting is a critical component of thinking fast and talking smart. In many conversations, especially those that are emotionally charged, high stakes, or confrontational, people often fall into the habit of reacting impulsively. Reactions are immediate, unfiltered, and driven by emotion rather than logic. They often stem from defensiveness, ego, or stress, and can lead to misunderstandings, conflict escalation, or regret. On the other hand, a response is thoughtful, intentional, and grounded in awareness. When you listen actively and stay present, you create the space necessary to choose a response instead of falling into a reaction. This shift in mindset transforms the quality of your communication and positions you as a calm, composed, and intelligent speaker. Reactions tend to be automatic. Someone says something that offends you, challenges you, or disagrees with your point of view, and your instinct might be to interrupt, defend, or push back. But in doing so, you often lose control of the narrative. You give power to emotion and allow it to dictate your next move, which can cloud judgment and weaken your message. Responding, by contrast, involves taking a brief pause, mentally processing what was said, considering the intent behind it, and crafting a reply that moves the conversation forward rather than derailing it. This doesn't mean suppressing your feelings or being passive. It means managing your emotions in a way that supports your goal and strengthens your communication. When you respond instead of react, you maintain control of your tone, language, and energy. You're able to speak with clarity rather than confusion, with purpose rather than pressure. This is especially valuable in leadership roles, negotiations, or any environment where perception and influence matter. People respect communicators who stay calm under fire, who don't let others provoke them, and who can deliver their message even in tough moments with grace and firmness. This level of self-control is not about being slow. It's about being smart with your speed. Thinking fast doesn't mean speaking without a filter. It means processing quickly while still responding with insight and intention. One of the best ways to cultivate this ability is by strengthening your emotional awareness. When you feel triggered or pressured, recognize that feeling without letting it drive your behavior. Use that moment as a signal to slow down internally, even if the conversation around you is moving fast. Sometimes a deep breath, a short pause, or a clarifying question can be enough to shift you from reactive to responsive mode. You can still move quickly, but with direction. This creates more productive conversations, more collaborative solutions, and relationships that are more respectful and resilient. Responding instead of reacting gives you the power to steer conversations instead of being pulled by them. It enables you to keep your credibility, protect your message, and influence outcomes more effectively. In a world that rewards quick thinking, the real edge comes not from how fast you speak, but from how intelligently you choose your words. And that begins with a choice to respond. Mastering active listening and becoming a fast, smart communicator is not an overnight achievement. It is a skill developed through consistent practice and intentional effort. Like any valuable ability, active listening requires repetition, patience, and self-awareness. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes to stay fully present, decode messages beyond words, ask insightful questions, and respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. Practice transforms active listening from a conscious effort into an automatic habit, one that enhances every conversation and interaction you have. Without regular practice, even the best techniques can slip away when faced with real-world pressure or distraction. Making active listening a daily habit means committing to small, manageable actions throughout your day. It could be as simple as giving your full attention to the person speaking during a team meeting, putting away your phone when having a conversation, or summarizing what someone just said to confirm understanding. Each of these actions reinforces the mental muscles needed to listen actively. Over time, your brain becomes wired to prioritize focus, empathy, and understanding, which makes thinking fast and talking smart much easier and more effective. As this skill strengthens, you'll notice not only that you respond more quickly, but that your responses carry more weight, accuracy, and emotional intelligence. Practicing active listening also means embracing discomfort and challenge. It requires you to resist the urge to interrupt, jump to conclusions, or formulate your reply before the speaker finishes. It demands humility to acknowledge when you don't fully understand something and courage to ask clarifying questions rather than pretending you do. These moments of vulnerability deepen your connections and improve your communication credibility. They also build confidence because they shift the focus from trying to win the conversation to genuinely understanding and contributing meaningfully. The more you embrace these challenges, the more skilled and natural you become at thinking fast and talking smart. Another critical part of practice is reflection. After conversations, take time to consider what went well and what could improve. Did you stay present? Did you catch the unspoken messages? Were your questions thoughtful? Did you respond with intention rather than reacting? This kind of self-assessment helps you identify patterns and areas for growth. It keeps you accountable to your goals and motivated to continue improving. Over time, reflection combined with deliberate practice builds mastery. Importantly, practicing active listening is not just about individual growth. It creates ripple effects in your relationships and environment. When you consistently listen well, others notice and respond positively. You build stronger trust, reduce misunderstandings, and foster collaboration. People are more likely to share openly with you, seek your input, and value your perspective. This feedback loop further accelerates your growth as a communicator. The practice of active listening becomes a catalyst for success across personal, professional, and social domains. Ultimately, the commitment of practicing active listening daily transforms you into someone who naturally thinks fast and talks smart. It's a lifelong journey, one that continually sharpens your mind, deepens your empathy, and enhances your influence. The power lies in persistence. Each conversation is an opportunity to practice, improve, and become more effective at mastering the art of communication. Mastering active listening is the cornerstone of thinking fast and talking smart. It transforms how you engage with others, allowing you to process information quickly, respond thoughtfully, and communicate with clarity and confidence. By training your brain to stay present, decoding messages beyond words, embracing silence, asking smart questions, and choosing to respond rather than react, you build a powerful communication toolkit that elevates every interaction. This skill doesn't develop overnight. It requires consistent practice, patience, and reflection. But the payoff is immense. Stronger relationships, greater influence, and the ability to navigate any conversation with grace and effectiveness. When you commit to mastering active listening today, you unlock the true potential of your voice and mind, empowering yourself to think fast and talk smart in every moment.